Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the final webinar of the year of BigChange. This time we are covering the topic, how to manage your finances like a pro. My name's Jonathan Isaacs. I'm Product Marketing Manager here at BigChange, and I'm joined by Sam and Wynn, who both work in customer support. How are you doing today, guys?
Great, how are you?
Yep, not too bad. You all right, Wynn?
Yeah, doing well.
Fantastic. So Sam and Wynn will be presenting on this particular topic. They have been supported by Danielle and Ryan to put together the content of this. So we are going to jump straight in. Before we actually join or go on to the topic at hand, if you're not a member of the BigChange family, you might be asking yourself who we are as a company. Well, we are a job management software provider that makes you and your business truly unstoppable. For a single time, one monthly fee, we provide you with a mobile application, job scheduling functionality, live tracking, CRM platform, job finance and business intelligence. Not just that, but many more features as well. Our system grows each and every month with the releases that we do, and you don't just have to take our word for it. We are trusted by over 2,000 companies across Europe, the Americas, and Asia Pacific. On screen are some of the companies you may well have heard of. The slides towards the end are going to contain some QR codes, so we're probably all familiar with these. Keep your phone at hand as you might want to take a picture of the slides or scan the QR codes as well. Don't worry about taking too many notes. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available on our YouTube channel as soon as possible. So if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, head over to youtube.com/BigChange and hit the subscribe button. But don't just hit the subscribe button, also hit the bell and notification so that you get alerted every time we post a new video. And if you're watching this on catch up and like the recording, do give it a thumbs up. Finally, you will most likely have some questions during the course of this presentation. There is a Q&A section within Teams. Simply click on the Q&A button at the top of your screen, type in your question, and we will do our very best to answer them at the end. When you're entering a question, if you could add some context to it, that will help when we get to it. So rather than just saying, what does this button do? If you could actually tell us the name of the button, that will mean when we come to review it at the end, we have a bit more of a clue as to how to help you. If we don't manage to cover all of the questions today, we have your names and email addresses, and so we will make sure that you get a response. So without further ado, I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Wynn and Sam.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. So, as you all know already, this webinar is looking at the financial aspect of the system and I guess the different functionality that it contains. As always, if you do have any questions, contact support. So, to start here is just an overview of the month of November, showing the number of documents, the total amount of each type created in the system. So the highest number of a document type is over 183,000, which is for invoices, and the highest value is for quotations, which is over £250 million. So you will see here quite clearly how much the financial aspect of the system is used, and I guess the importance of this.
So thank you so much, Sam. I'm going to now ask Sam to just share his screen to show our demo site so that I can talk through administration side of your financials. So thank you so much. So the first area to look at is the general account settings. The first setting I would like to highlight is the default payment terms and the default validity. So I'm just going to let Sam make his way there. Brilliant.
There we go.
Brilliant, thank you. So your default payment terms and the default validity this is where you'll set the default number of days you would like for your financial documents. You can overwrite this field at a contact level by setting a different default against contacts. The next setting to ensure meets your needs is whether you would like your payment terms to be inherited from parent contacts. Setting to yes will mean information set against a parent contact will filter down to the child contacts without the need to go in and manually add them to each child contact. Whether you would like your purchase order references to be hidden until approved or set when the purchase order is raised is determined by this setting highlighted in the account settings. Setting this to yes will show the reference as awaiting approval in the CRM. There are two options for methods for invoice overdue date to be calculated. The first is to calculate from the first sending of the invoice. The other option is to recalculate the overdue date every time you send the invoice. And the final setting here I'd like to highlight is the option to edit the contact on financial documents created from jobs. You may want to have the option to raise a financial document on a job against a different contact. Make sure to change this setting, otherwise you'll be restricted to the contact the job is against. I would next like to highlight some of the key setup areas for your financial documents. So this right here is where you will set up automatic referencing, your flags, your notes to clients, and the default templates for your financial documents. Auto referencing determines what the reference style is for your documents. These are set per document type, and you can have different prefixes and number formats per document. If in the next number shown, which is a number 4, 5, 6. So we've had an extra invoice since I wrote my script. So that is counted up. So the next number that will be raised, quotation number, will be number 6. So when you edit document types, you'll most likely be opened onto the Details tab, and this is where you select which template you would like to use. As this is per document, this means that you can use a different template for each document type. You can always update your templates manually when you create your documents, but selecting your main template here can speed up your creation process. The next tab to highlight is the Notes to Clients tab. Here is where you can add pre-written information for your customers to have on each document. You can add these notes here, so you don't have to type them out the same information each time you raise an invoice or a quotation. Instead, you can use these notes. You can also add a variety of custom flags to suit your needs. Flags can be added to documents and are a column in the CRM that can be viewed. You can update your colleagues about the status of different documents by using flags, and you can also filter for these flags on the documents. Now I'm going to ask Sam to move to the custom field area of the site. So custom fields are set by document type. They can be used to add additional information that you require for your documents. Our example here is on our quotations. We want to know who created the quote, so have added that as a mandatory field. As you can filter by custom fields, this means I can now easily find all quotations created by my web users. Now I'm going to just throw it back on my slides so that Sam can talk you through a little bit more on sales opportunities.
Okay, thank you. So looking at sales opportunities, so within the administration section of sales opportunities, there are stages and probabilities as well as flags. So there is some additional sort of tabs here. So probabilities are a useful feature that allow for a sort of simple identification of a salesperson's confidence in closing that sale. So in this scenario, we've got cold, warm, and hot. You could add anything you like in there. The other option is stages. They can be dragged and dropped to change the order. So in this scenario, we've got a few different stages, starting from quote out right through to the job booked. And again, flags that can be set up for all your document types. So once your admin side is configured, we're on to actually creating a sales opportunity. So in this scenario here, we've got the staging probability that we set on the previous page, and we can also add a subject and any relevant line items. The Documents tab along the top provides a simple way to create financial documents such as quotations, invoices, or purchase orders against your sales opportunity. And essentially in that tab, you can use the add icon to create new documents that will automatically populate with the line items that you've specified on the Detail tab within the sales opportunity. Next, we have the Jobs tab. Now, all jobs already created against this sales opportunity will appear here, but you also have the option to add additional jobs or new jobs. So this can be great for storing on-site meetings, time spent producing documentation, or just saving the jobs off the back of a successful sales opportunity. And I guess finally in here, but I don't have any notes for it, is the actual notes tab itself, which, as you might expect, is a virtual notepad, allowing you to make notes on meetings, visits, customer requirements, and so on. Now, unlike physical notepads, the notes section can be extremely powerful because it's got the capability of interacting with other parts of the system, such as alerts. So, looking at alerts, here's some alerts set up specifically for sales opportunities. So the first alert you'll see here essentially is a change in the stage of an alert. So this one is saying when the sales opportunity is changed into the stage job booked, that an alert will be sent out. The second alert is for the sales opportunity expiry reminders, which is triggered based on the due date field that you set on your sales opportunity. So it could be a great way of setting deadlines for your sales opportunities. And then I guess the question mark that's highlighting the keyword that you can select. So an alert can be set for any sales opportunity or even for specific contacts or groups. That's completely up to you. You can determine that per alert. And then finally, the actual default message at the bottom. So that can be changed. You can add in more text, or you can actually create a custom template in the template section and use that here. So I'm going to pass back to Wynn to speak about purchase orders.
Thank you for that, Sam. So as well as your notes to clients and flags, purchase order have a tab for series in the administration side. So series can be used to categorize your purchase orders. The example we have used here is parts, but you could categorize this in any way you want. But why would you want to do this? So once a series is set up, a new mandatory field appears for the document creation for purchase orders. With a series setup, you can add a limit for your POs for your web users. This can be used to set a maximum value for one document or for a period of time. And this can restrict web users from creating purchase orders with too high values, or you can have it set to allow the document to be created. However, a manager would need to give their approval for such purchase orders. And now over to Sam to discuss quote acceptance in more detail.
Perfect. So you may already know that you can mark your quotes as accepted in the system, but you can automate this process. So this is exactly what quote acceptance is. So JobWatch allows you to automatically capture the signature of a customer and then customize the actual acceptance information. And then at the end of that, issue a digital receipt when the document is signed. So I guess the first part of this is the administration side. So that's where we were looking previously. So what you're choosing here is the actual text that you want to display on the sort of landing page for the customer. So in this scenario, we've just got accept quote, reject quote, but you can change that to suit. Similar to documents, you can set up custom fields specifically for the quote acceptance page. So we do have one which I will demonstrate shortly. And there are also two templates which we would recommend using for quote acceptance, and I will show these as well. But the first of these would be the actual quotation acceptance email. So that's just including a link to the recipient. So they click on the link and then they are taken to the landing page to sign the document. And then the other template, which is a little simpler, is just providing a receipt. It's just a quotation receipt template, and that is sent to both you and the customer once the document's been signed. So in this example here, this is just a quote acceptance email to accept on the booking site. And I guess the important part here is the quote accept link keyword, which in the top screenshot is highlighted in the email, and at the bottom is the actual keyword itself. So once it has been clicked, this is the portal that the customer will view to proceed with signing the quotation. And then again, as with the sales opportunities, you can set alerts off the back of this. So I guess that ties nicely in with what we were looking earlier with flags. Like not only can you add flags for a quick overview or filtering, the system actually recognizes the quotation has been accepted, and you could set an alert off this, which could notify a particular person, such as an accountant or manager or whoever you want. And this is particularly useful as that you can send it either when accepted, rejected, or other statuses for other documents as well. So I just want to actually show the process of this, like a demonstration of quote acceptance. So I will just show the site here. So excellent. So I guess the first thing is actually just where we were setting it up. So this is where we were previously. So financial documents and sales ops. And then as with all your documents, you can click and edit. But we've got the actual quote acceptance tab. So in here, we've got what we were looking at earlier, choosing what you want to display on your buttons. You can also set a message when accepted and a message when it's expired. It all comes up down here, and you can add some terms and conditions. Once you've sort of set that up, you go to the acceptance capture and receipt. So here we're just enabling this functionality, and then we're actually choosing the receipt template that we looked at earlier. We can choose certain individuals to be CC'd in the emails and then actually just determine what the accept and submit button looks like. And in this scenario, the custom field, again, you can add whatever you like, just a field to gather some more contact information when the customer is accepting the quote. So now I'm actually just going to get into the two templates. So again, my account administration, account and templates. So the first of these is the quote acceptance email. So this is the email that's first being sent out. So if we click into here, it's just a regular old email, but I guess the important part is that we've got this click here, which is where they're going to essentially click to sign. And that's simply just inserting keyword, financial tab, and then you've got your quote acceptance link. So you, as it says here, you can leave it empty if you want to show the full URL, or you can do as I've done, you can type click here. And then what that would do is come through as a click here, same as I've got here. And once you've sort of set up your template, the important part, is, as with any template, is creating a usage. So this one is just simply a financial document specifically for quotation, and the format would be an email. So once you've set that up, that's that template and it's good to go. And then we've got the actual receipt. So this is what we set up in the administration section. So in here, a little bit of a simple email. Dear first name, please find attached a copy of your signed quote. But the reason I'm showing this is because it has its own usage, which is just the quote acceptance receipt for an email. So once you've got your template set up, you've got the actual quote acceptance set up, you're then good to go. So if I go to a document that I've got here, if I click on this and email as I would normally, you would then choose your quote acceptance email, and then this is what would be sent out. And then I'm not going to actually send it, but in this scenario, this is what the customer would click on, and this is the page they would see. So here they've got just the company, then they can add any notes, they can confirm, and then they can accept. And then if I just follow this through, thank you for accepting your quote. And that's sort of the process of going through that. So yeah, I will pass back to Wynn to just look at, I guess, once your quotations have been created, actually going from that point through to a job.
So as Sam has shown, your customers can accept their quotations through the booking site, but what would happen next is you might want to create a job on the back of the quote acceptance. So there we go. So this process will start with the creation of a new quotation. You can populate all the information that you need and hit save, and then your new quotation will appear in the CRM in the financial documents list. From here, you can send this document to the customer and they can decide to accept that as Sam has shown. But once this quote has been accepted, you can then select it and choose to assign it to a job. If your customer has not used the quote acceptance link, you can still mark this quote as accepted manually. But after accepting the quote manually, it will mean you are prompted to choose what to do next. As we want to create a new job, we will select assign to a job and then choose the new job option. And then you are presented with the normal job creation screen with contact information pre-populated. Your new job will have the quotation under its financial tab. This is great for collating all your financial documents against one job. It's all in one place. Once the job has been completed by your resources, you can then create your invoice easily using the same line items as were on the quotation. Your new invoice will appear against the job in the financial tab, and it will also be on your CRM in the financial documents list. Now, you will want to send this invoice to the correct person, and each contact can have multiple people against it. So you should select the above the tick box for those who receive financial documents. This will help you out when sending that all-important invoice email. So we're going to send our invoice either from the job financial tab or the CRM. You can select file, then email. You will then be prompted with the email pop-up, and you need to make sure that you choose the correct template first of all. And after the template has been selected, you'll need to choose the correct person. And as you can see here, there are two $signs next to our contact person, and this is because they have been selected to receive financial documents. Before you send your email, you can choose whether this will mark your job as financially complete. And financially complete is a status for your jobs that can be used for filtering on the schedule tab and on some of your reports.
Excellent. So this is just a short walkthrough showing sort of consolidating and recurring invoices. So Invoices raised against the same parent contact or one specific contact, which have not yet been sent, can be consolidated into one document. So this enables invoicing of jobs for a given time period rather than just for specific jobs. So to consolidate, you will first of all need to set the document type. The status needs to be set as not sent, the state set as not cancelled, and the contact specified. But don't worry if you don't have these, because it will prompt you for whatever you have missed in terms of the filters. So once the list of invoices displayed is correct, you will just use the consolidate icon. You'll get a new pop-up window which will open, giving you some different options. So the first of these is just to copy over each individual line item from each invoice onto the new consolidated invoice. So to put an example on this, if you had 3 invoices with 5 line items each, your consolidated invoice would have 15 line items. The second is to just simply list a total from each invoice as a line item on the consolidated invoice. So if using the same example as before, we would be consolidating the same 3 invoices with 5 line items each, and you would only see 3 line items on your consolidated invoice rather than the 15, so showing all the line items. And again, the final option is just to be able to email the consolidated invoice directly to the contact. Looking at recurring invoices. So when creating an invoice, you do have the option to set recurrences to automatically generate future copies of the same document. So recurrences can be great for scenarios such as payment plans or anything else that you may use them for. So they can be set up manually each time, or you can use predefined recurrence patterns when generating a recurrence. And it is worth noting that if your invoice date does not match your recurrence date on the invoice, an additional invoice will be generated on the next day of the month that matches the recurrence. So let's have a look at the actual recurrence patterns that I just mentioned. So if you were going to be applying the same type of recurrences consistently, you would want to probably set up a recurrence pattern, which allows you to essentially save your most commonly used recurrences and apply them without having to recreate each time. As with sort of job recurrences, they can be set to daily, weekly, monthly, week of the month, and so on, which moves nicely into contracts with Wynn.
So the contract section of JobWatch enables you to manage all documents pertaining to individual contracts in one place. So this includes everything from scanned attachments of your original agreement to a host of financial documents. So this here is the general tab on your contracts. This is where you can set up that initial information for your contract. You can also add custom fields to contracts, and these will appear in the details tab of the contract. The end date field on this tab is not a hard field. It will not stop your contracts from generating invoices after this date, but is a useful field as it can be used for filtering and can indicate to you when a contract is coming upon its end. The invoice creation field is how you can decide how you want your contract to be invoiced. You can choose between manually creating your invoices as and when you require, or for your invoices to be created automatically at preset periods or intervals. Your pricing field is another important section to decide upon. This can either be set to create your invoices through preset line items, which is what we have got set up here, or whether each invoice is to be created from the period's job line items. Using the second option is somewhat similar to consolidating invoices, as Sam spoke about. So if your contract is set up to automatically generate invoices periodically, you'll need to set up a period like this. You're in your invoice period tab of your contract. The current period for your contract appears on the general tab, and to edit or add additional periods, you'll need to head here. When creating invoicing periods, you can choose what recurrence pattern you would like your invoices to generate on. In the example shown here, I've created 2 invoicing periods, one for the first 2 months of this contract at £300, and then in the new year, a new period begins at a lower rate. My invoice is a line item. However, if I was to use the pricing option to use your job line items, you would only need to set your occurrence and start date, and you would not need to insert line items manually. So you've set up your invoicing period and your contract is starting to generate the invoices. These will appear in the financial tab of the contract. You can also add additional documents here, such as a credit note or any additional invoices related to this contract, so it can keep all of your information in one place. And the final tab I want to show you on your contracts is the job tabs. This is where you can add new jobs for this contract, and you can also create a job import and add your jobs on bulk to the contract. And sticking with me, we've got this next section. I'm going to cover some information on predefined invoicing items. So while stock and equipment are tangible goods or products, predefined invoicing items are intangible but chargeable items, such as maybe a service or a consultation. Even your goods or products could be set up as predefined items if you are not monitoring the levels of your stock. Where you know that a certain type of job requires the same items of stock or equipment or has another set of the same billable items, you can create a predefined invoice item set, which acts as a shortcut to adding line items on your job. The set categories are added in the administration side in the section highlighted, and you can add your predefined invoice items to the sets on the item itself. When adding your items to sets, you can choose the quantity you require for each set. So if you had 3 different sets and there was one item that's going to be on all 3, but in set 1 you only require 2, but in set 3 you want 5 of this item, you can set that here and you can make that work for yourself. To add your predefined invoice items onto your financial documents, you'll need to select the Add Predefined Invoice item on your document. You can then choose to add a single item or a set. If you add a set, but you don't need one of the items included in the set for that document, it can be removed and it will not affect the set for future transactions. And the nice thing about predefined invoicing items is you can then set contact specific price on them. In this example here, the Drain Buster 2000 has a regular price of £12.50, and this has been set to £10 for every time it is used for this contact. You can increase or decrease prices by using fixed pricing or percentages. And one of the options in the type is you can do this for all your predefined invoicing items. So everything could have a 20% discount or markup, and it can be also just set for individual items as well.
Thanks again. Okay, so this next section is looking at rates and rating tables with another demonstration of these. So firstly, with rates, so the rates that you set will help you to calculate the selling prices for jobs or items automatically. So in relation to working hours, you could set them up either against planned or actual work time. So that would be either the estimated time you expect the work to take or the actual log time which it took the resource to perform the job. That's totally up to you. So there are 2 types here. First of all, job type rates. These are set in the administration section of your job types, and they are set per document type, per job type, sorry. So you can set different rates for different job types. And then the other option is contact specific rates if you have a separate agreement with the customer. Now the setup of these is almost identical, apart from you can choose for one to overwrite the other. So looking at when actually setting your rates, some of the fields affect travel and others affect working time. So in this example here, we're looking at the working rate. So I'll just pick out a few fields here. Fixed price, that's just a fixed rate. That could be, for example, a call out charge that no matter what, you want to charge that. The working hourly rate for the first hour, this just allows you to set a rate for the first hour. And I guess it would be more applicable if that is going to be different to the rate you apply for the following hours. Hourly rate rounding, so you can round up or down to the nearest hour or 15 minutes. Again, totally up to you. And then multiply by a number of resources, which is a yes or no. That just means if you've got any assistance on your job, you can multiply the hourly rate by the number of resources. So in this actual example, the job's planned duration is 90 minutes. The fixed price is £20. The first hour is charged at £10 and the following hours are charged at £5 each. So that's what we've got here. So when that's actually applied to a job, then you get a job line item showing your total working rate of £35. So in this, the next part of your rates is the driving rate. So again, just some different fields, same place, and it will just create an additional line item. So driving hourly rate. So this is if you're charging time for actually driving to a job. So the hourly rate, hourly figure can be put in here, and it may differ depending on whether you select planned or actual. The rate per mile allows you to set a cost per mile driven whilst undertaking the jobs. And again, your choice of planned or actual will make a difference. So it's either going to be an estimated distance or literally how far the driver has travelled from their start point, including any diversions. So again, that choice is up to you. Driving from a fixed location. So choosing no will calculate distance driven from the point where the resources start driving to job to starting the job. And choosing yes will allow you to choose a fixed starting location, such as a head office. So in this scenario, the durations are planned. The driving is estimated to be 1 hour, 2 minutes. Rounded down, that's you've got an hour's driving. That's £20 for the hour, £1 per mile, 57.75 miles, and then you get a total of 77.75 as the line item. So another section, which is specific to contacts, is just discounts and markups. So this essentially allows you to make changes that can be applied in single areas for that customer without having to amend it for everything. An example would be, let's say, a fixed 10% discount across the board for a particular contact, or for each job type on that contact. So, for instance, if you're using the same boiler service example that we've been looking at, so imagine that the job type costs were calculated on the basis of a small van being used for the jobs. Now, imagine that the restrictions of the site mean that whenever you resource visit, the vehicle used needs to be a different type of van, which may have higher running costs or a higher value per mile. So by simply setting up some discounts and markups and amending, say, the driving hourly rate and rate per mile fields, the cost will be updated for all jobs without having to input the changes one by one or adding additional information into other fields. So you could, of course, narrow this down to a single job type or multiple job types, and that's completely up to you. So rating tables, not commonly used. So essentially, they're a genius way of using the selling price rates you have agreed with a customer or have set for a product. So they do differ from rates, which are for job types and contacts, because these actually use two elements. So that's essentially the X and the Y axes, or the rows and the columns, depending which way you look at it, rather than just one single element. And they are just created in the administration, again, in the financial section, scheduler rates or rating tables is what I call them, and then just adding a new one. So this example is using, you choose the categories, but in this example, we're using the job start time and the jobs category to determine the line item price. So there's a lot of room for customization with rating tables. So I just want to pick out a few fields that show on here. So the invoice description, that's just going to be your sort of the field that holds several auto-populated keyword fields. That's just how it's going to display in your invoice. You could use keywords for job type, order number, and you can also combine this with free text as required. The row and the column type, I guess these are the important part. This is what makes up a rating table. So you are provided with a list of sort of predefined categories that you may want to select and then populate the X and Y axes from this. And then there is another option, which is using predefined invoicing items. So it's an optional field. You can tick it. So instead of actually putting prices at the bottom in the table, you can put a predefined invoicing item in there. So it can enable sort of more complex equations to be automatically calculated. And it can be a great time saver, and also reducing the possibility of input error because it's already set up. And then additionally, if you have got the sort of discounts and the markups set up that we previously looked at, that would be taken into account with your predefined items here. So I guess, how do you use rating tables? So there is only one way to call them into use, and that's via a dedicated worksheet branch type, which is apply rating highlighted here. So when a set worksheet answer is given, so it could be either like a yes or a no, or just any answer, you want to apply a rating to the job. So once a rating table has been successfully added to a question as a trigger, it is then signposted by appearance of a blue $sign just telling you that this question applies a rating. So this scenario we've been looking at, I will show a demonstration of these, but in this example here, job category is domestic call out. The job was started at 2:29, so the rating table then pulls across the value sort of within that section, which would be £100. So I'm just going to do a demonstration of both that in action and also a different rating table that I've got set up here. So excellent. So we'll just start by showing, again, setting them up. Financial, schedule of rates, and then I've got two here. So this is the one we've already looked at. So fairly simple in terms of what we've already looked at. We've got row and column type, job category, job start time. If the job starts anywhere between this time and this time, this is the price, and so on. And then you can add more categories, you can add more times, potentially split it up into smaller segments. That's totally up to you. This is what we were referring to with the invoice description. So I've got job type and contact name. I could type any text in here. You do have the option of more keywords. And then there's some other fields in here, which I guess are fairly self-explanatory. So a different one I wanted to have a look at, which is one that I haven't shown in the presentation already, is the additional work. Now, this is a little bit more complicated because instead of the predefined answers chosen, so a job category and job start time, what we're actually using it is worksheet answers. So from some worksheets we've already got set up. So I will get onto the worksheet, but in this scenario, I've got a resource type and a work type. So this is you're basically saying, have you done any additional works? If so, what was the type of resource that did it, and what was the type of work? And I'm saying it's text because the answer to these are text, and I want equals. So if the answer equals my worksheet question, this is what I want. So in this scenario here, different resource types, different work types, and depending on the sort of the combination of these will give you a price out of the bottom. So I'm just going to show the actual worksheets of these in action. So again, just in your worksheets in administration. So the first one is the job start time and job category. And I know we've already looked at that one, but I just want to show how you would apply this. So I've just got a question saying, has the call out been rectified successfully? And we've got a $sign. And if I click it and edit, I'm just saying if the answer to this question is yes, so the call out has been rectified successfully, then I want to apply my rating, which is just this one here. And then I've just simply chosen my rating table. So that's, I guess, the more simplified version of that. Now, the other one, which is the additional works. So I've actually got my own worksheet set up for this, and all it's doing is asking a question. Let me just get that back up. Have you completed any additional works? And what I'm saying here is if the answer is yes, I want to then show two questions, so worksheet type and resource type. And then off the back of that, I'm applying my rating. So here in work type, what I've said, if any answer is given to this, so it's any answer of the list, I want to apply a rating. But what you'll see that's different here with the other rating table is because it's a worksheet question. When we choose additional works, we get this pop up. So we're saying which worksheet questions do I want to use for my column or row. So in this, they do match in this scenario. So if I go to my additional works, I'm saying work type wants to use work type, and resource type, again, just wants to use resource type. And then that's how it's set up, and it shows you that here. So that's sort of the setup of it. That's fine, that's perfect. And then you're sort of onto actually using these. So if I go to a job of mine, so if I just open this up, this would be completed by a resource, but I'll just sort of show the idea behind it. So because my job start time and job category, this job's not actually been started, so this wouldn't necessarily apply anything for the first rating table. But the main one I wanted to show is this additional works. So what I'm saying here, have you completed any additional works? If I give the answer yes, I've got work type and resource type. If I then just choose one of these and a particular resource type, and then I save my job, if I then open back up my line items and recalculate them, I've actually got an additional line item, which is based on the two answers that I've given previously. So this top line item is just rates, and then this is just your rating table. So I can actually go back in, choose two different answers, and then save the job, and I will have a different price again. Excellent. And then that's essentially how these works. I mean, there is a lot of room for customization with these. You can chop and change, you can use the predefined categories, you can set up worksheets for these. There is a lot to look at. It's worth trying and testing and seeing, how it would work for you. So I will now pass back to Wynn just to have a look at sort of blueprints and reporting within the system.
Go. Excellent. Thank you so much. There we go. So the final thing we will cover today is your blueprints and reports related to your financials. So you will find the setup for all blueprints in the form sections of the administration side. An example of the main financial blueprint is shown here for financial documents. There are a couple of others, but this is the one I'm going to focus on right now. When you select your export button in the CRM, you will be prompted to confirm the email address to send your export to, and this will be set to manually pull through your web user email. And you will then also need to choose your export blueprint and the file format. But why would you want to use a blueprint? So what you can see here is the top export is what you receive if you do not include a blueprint. It has a lot of information that you may not need to see. It's a lot of information. It can be overwhelming. However, the bottom export using the blueprint is a more concise set of information. Another nice thing you can do with your blueprints is you can change the order you receive the information. So if you set your reference to be in column A rather than column C, then that would appear first on your export. So you can personalize what information you want to receive and the order you receive it in. Going to touch briefly on financially complete, what this means. So there are many ways in the system to mark your jobs as financially complete. This could be done via automatic document sending, when you manually send an invoice, or simply on the job results tab on your jobs. But the question is, why would you want to do this? So marking a job as financially complete signals to the BigChange platform that this job will not incur any further costs and can therefore move from an active state to a completed state for profitability analysis. As mentioned earlier, this can be filtered on your schedule view, as well as being used in the following reports. So here, the top 3 shown here are ones that will pull different information depending on whether they are financially complete or incomplete. So the work in progress report allows you to look at jobs that have been started, completed, but they've not, and have already incurred some committed costs, but are not yet financially complete. The job profitability forecast report looks at estimated profitability of your upcoming jobs. And finally, the job profitability report provides data regarding your financially complete jobs. So the second and third on that list, financially incomplete, top one, financially complete. All these reports look very similar, but you should make sure you're using the correct report for your needs. If you're thinking you're missing an invoice, check that you're using the right report. So our most commonly used financial report is the financial documents report. This report can be used to view and export financial data related to specific types of documents, such as invoices, credit notes, quotations. You may wish to use this rather than a blueprint, as there are some extra filters that you can use to pull the information for this report. And you can also have the ability to schedule this report to send out to yourself on a regular basis. Final thing to touch on is dashboards. So to access your data visualization dashboards, you'll need to be granted permission to do this. So currently, any user that has either the role permissions administrate the account full access or administrate web users can enable access to the dashboards on a user by user basis. Once permission has been granted, you navigate to that analytics and reporting tab, and you'll be able to see all the analytic dashboards at the top. Key ones relate to financial, most of them will, but you might want to take a look at your quotes overview dashboard. And the one that we're about to go into a little bit, show you a little side of, is your invoices due dashboard. So here are some of the graphs that you can see on the invoices due dashboard. This dashboard supplies a summary of all invoices due, their value, due dates, and how long they have been due, for helping to track progress towards revenue goals and identify any required financial tasks. There are plenty of other graphs you can use. You can filter this information and you can interact with it to analyze your financials. But yeah, that's all from us. So now I would just like to pass back to Jonathan.
Thank you very much, guys. We have quite a few questions in the Q&A section, but before we get on to that, there's just a tiny bit more that we want to present to you guys. So let's bring some slides back on screen. Okay, so for those of you who are not yet members of the BigChange family, you might be looking at all of this functionality and thinking, what does it actually cost us? Well, the good news is that it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's all of these functions and features which we have shown to you today are included in your BigChange monthly subscription. The only addition to that perhaps is any integrations that you might want, but we can discuss any charges with those when you make contact with us. Everything you have seen today by Sam and Wynn is now live. We're not waiting on any functionality to be released. You can start using it today. So if you're not using any of the functionality that we've shown you today, there's nothing stopping you from doing so. One of the resources that you have available to you as being part of the BigChange community is our BigChange University. We have slides, recordings, and various different resources available, including quizzes that you can take part in. There is no additional cost for that. If you are not yet signed up, you can go to bcu.bigchange.com/new user, or scan the QR code on screen, enter in a first, last name and email address. It will ask for a password, which is BC University 5, and away you go. We have had a question from someone in the chat asking for us to cover something again. We won't have time for that, but if you scan the QR code and go to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe and bell notification. You will be notified when this recording goes live, which, all being well, will be by the end of today. So you'll be able to watch it back. On YouTube, we have a variety of webinars that we've hosted in the past. We touched briefly on dashboards. We did an entire webinar on that, which is available on demand. We did not one, but 2 parts on how you can become a super user with 13 time-saving features to turbocharge your business. It's not 13 time-saving features in each of, between the 2 of them, it's in each of them. So over 26 features that you can use, and Wynn and Sam have perhaps shown some of these today. I can't quite remember all of the 26 that we went through, but I think we did templates or blueprints. We also did how to manage your vehicles like a pro and how to administrate your system like a pro. So all of those are available on our YouTube channel, and you can watch whenever you feel like it. Each month we release a community newsletter. The November edition is out now, and by the end of the week we will have published our December edition. The December edition includes lots of news and also a video with some outtakes that you may well enjoy watching. Each month we have a competition. We have a festive competition this time running, and it's for the little changes of our community. During the Christmas holiday, you may well want to get a break, and so give the little big changes something to colour in. And we've come up with something that you can give them. It's Santa Claus doing a vehicle check on his sleigh, delivering some donuts, doing a check on a fire, and doing 2 checks on a fire, and then, of course, a delivery and tracking Santa on a tablet. We have actually received our very first entries. So there is stiff competition. We have an entry from Harry, and we also have an entry from Pippa, which look amazing. So if you want to download the templates, scan the QR code, email to competitions@bigchange.com, and the winner with the best design or best designs will win a mystery prize. We have launched just in time for Christmas data as a service with information contained on screen as to how you can start to use that. BigChange Pay launched earlier this quarter. Absolutely brilliant for being able to take payment online, over the phone and on site. Scan the QR code on screen to see the information on that. And earlier this month, we made our customer service offering even better. We have an online ticketing portal, which allows you to see all of the tickets that you've raised. We have a newly designed help center, and online chat is coming soon if it isn't already launched. Guys, is it launched? Online chats? Yep, fantastic. Yep, so there we go. Also, a free £250 is up for grabs. It won't reach you before Christmas, I don't think, but certainly something for you to take advantage of in the new year. If you refer a friend to BigChange and they sit a demonstration, you will get a £250 Amazon voucher. Before we go on to the Q&A, I have put a feedback and Q&A thing on screen, and I'm also going to launch now, all being well, a very brief poll. If you could rate this webinar on a scale of 1 to 5 as to how useful you found it, that will help us greatly. If you want to give us more details, simply scan the QR code on screen. So let me go to the Q&As. Okay, so we're going to start right at the beginning, which was, and I might answer some of these, and then I might throw some of these over to Wynn and Sam. So we had a message from Victoria and Sean. When an invoice is cancelled, it doesn't cancel on Xero despite having integrations on. We then have to manually void invoices on Xero, which takes some time. Is there a workaround? So whilst we were doing this webinar, I actually had a quick chat with a few people, and we would want to look at why we're cancelling so many invoices in the first place, because cancelling an invoice is not something that we ideally want to be doing. What we could recommend doing is, if you are cancelling invoices for a valid reason, is rather than cancelling them, creating a credit note, which would offset that and, of course, would synchronize to Xero. Tess got in touch, said, can you raise a quote to send to a subcontractor to submit costs? I don't think we can, but we could use other functionality like third-party worksheets or workflows. Would you guys recommend that as well?
Yeah, they could be sent out.
Awesome. Phil said, we sell physical goods, but we buy them just before we install them, thus no need for stock management. I've been advised to set the goods as predefined invoicing items. What are the key differences between setting up predefined invoicing items versus stock? Who wants to take that?
Okay, yeah, so I guess stock is more like managed on a quantity level, and as we've shown in the webinar, like the predefined items, you can set like your rates on them, contact specific. So I guess they can be used in a similar way, but if predefined items is what you set up in that case, then that's the way to go.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, if you did have the stock, you can do stock movements. If you have stock created, and you can do that on your jobs as well. But it's, you know, if predefined invoicing items are working and you don't need the stock, then if it's working for you, keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Cool. Anish got in touch and asked, are there plans to include a report that pulls job groups regardless of status and their financial lines? The honest answer is, I don't know. Guys, do you know if we have anything at the moment?
I'm not entirely sure.
No. What we'll do is, Anish, we'll pass your details on to the product manager for this particular area and ask them to reach out to you, either to show you where we do have this functionality or to get some additional details from you. We might have a similar response for Maria, who said, can the account reference be pulled from the cell under financial terms on the financial document report? I think that's probably a similar response that we gave Anish in terms of we'll have to check and come back to them. Yep.
Yeah.
I need to have a look at that, yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. Susan said, is it possible to change the default payment terms, e.g. 30 days from end of month, 30 days from invoice and immediate? I think it's just it's a calendar day at the moment, but we might be able to do something clever with templates. I think I've seen something in that before with templates. Susan, we'll take that away and we'll ask the account management team, customer success team to get in touch with you on that. I think that's pretty much everything. So there were one or two other questions which were quite specific to individual use cases. So we're not going to answer these here. We'll take these away with us and we'll ask the customer success team to reach out to every one of you. So I suppose the only thing that's left for us to say is on behalf of BigChange and Wynn and Sam is to wish all of you who are celebrating something this time of year a very merry Christmas and a happy new year.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, and we will see you in 2024.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.